All right, 1 2 1 2 1 2. I heard that we are live. Hopefully, you can hear me okay. You can see me okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Give us a thumbs up. Give a thumbs up. Write something on the chat. There is a bit of delay, but we'll see it. Just making sure you can see me okay, hear me okay. It's another beautiful Friday. I mean, beautiful. It's been very stormy where I am, but you know what? I love it. We need the cold, we need the storms, we need the rain, we need the sun, we need all of it. We need everything that life gives us. And then we need also Zapier, we need automation, we need AI. Yeah. So today it's going to be Zapier in action, building AI powered automations in less than 1 hour. If you've been to another live session before, you know that we can do a lot of great things in the hour. Hello to old John, hello to Kubi, hello to everyone joining. Let us know where you're connecting from. Let us know if you've used you know let us know if you've used Zapier before, or if you use other automation platforms. We are very, very interactive in these sessions, if so make sure to ask your questions, right? Don't hesitate. But again, just for the ones who are joining, Zapier in action, build AI powered automation in less than 1 hour. It is right now live. I Is it gonna do my thing? Oh yeah, here we go. All right, I should do that when it's on big screen. Yeah, thank you. That's the one. Awesome. I'm Tim Cakir, the founder of AI Operator, or you can call me Tim, the AI Operator. That's what they call me apparently. It's nice. I like it. I like it. I'm obsessed with AI. If you didn't know yet, I like people say they love AI, that they like AI, or they say they're obsessed. But I tell you, I'm very obsessed. I have a problem. Actually, I should get treated. I love AI too much. It's fine. Somebody just called me. That was so funny. Somebody called me the Tony Robbins of AI, right? So that's what I'm going for 2026. I really love that. So I'll be the Tony Robbins of AI. All right. So come to me with whatever AI needs you have, automation needs, and so on. I don't say I know everything. If I don't know something, I'll go figure it out. If I don't know something, I also could be on this call on the chat as well. He's our AI operations assistant. He's building some of the automations for our clients and internally as well. I just talk about them, right? And I build some stuff. Apparently, I do build. So if you know Spotify has been doing this, yearly wrapped, and saying who you've been listening to, what you've been doing, and stuff like that. So my note taking tool called Granola, it did the same thing, and it was hilarious. It said that. All right, here's my. I'm going to share this. Can I share this? Can we go to demo screen, please? Thank you very much. I'm going to share this because it's hilarious. I wasn't planning on this, but this is hilarious. So Granola, it said that I had, was it 17,000 minutes of calls, I don't know how many meetings and stuff. And it said my 2025 catchphrase is, I just built that over the weekend. I usually say that on Monday morning while unveiling a complex automation that nobody asked for, but everyone definitely needs. And this is really fun. I think Granola is getting to know me really well, right? This is hilarious. This is what it said. But anyways, that's I love building stuff over the weekend when I get time from the kids, hopefully. But today we're not here for this. We're here for Zapier, right? So Zapier is, I think, the most trusted, I'm gonna say. And let me see if I can make this a bit bigger so you guys can see it a bit cleaner. Yeah, can everybody see that a bit clearer? Thank you very much. So this is Zapier, right? Zapier is an automation platform. Actually, it started as an integration platform, right? So I'll talk about that in a bit, But what I want to do first of all is to make sure that we're all clean here. All right, yeah, we're good, we're good. So Zapier, yeah, Granola definitely knows me very well. Yes, I should show you guys some of the other things at some point. Ask me, because there's so many others. It found catchphrases. It found some really cool stuff actually. It was so funny, and I think it's a great way to do the Spotify Wrapped. And because a lot of people saying, I don't care what you listen to, but the Granola one is incredible because I really do care. Who I am, what's my context, how I've been running the business and stuff. and it just told me some incredible stuff that really opened my mind. So that's a really great use case of that. And so even Granola, which is my notes taking tool, right? It right now is even working, and it can connect to Zapier. Right, so then I can do a lot of automatic things from it as well, like creating content, creating agreements, sales proposals, and so on. But Zapier is here, is open. Zapier has been going on for a really long time. So Zapier was here before ChatGPT. Zapier was here before NA10. I believe Zapier was here before Make.com as well, potentially. Zapier was one of the first like proper automation or integration platform. Let's call them integration platform, because they have 8,000 plus now apps, right? That can integrate. So what do I mean by that, right? So I'll just show you, and we'll walk through as we go along. But if you have a great use case, you want me to build something, just write it down, because it's going to be really fun to do that, right? But I'm just going to go in the Zaps. So what they call this, the Zaps, okay? So the fundamentals really is that it has 8,000 plus tools that you can connect. So most of the tools that you're using, there is a 99% chance that is on here. There's a 1% chance that is not on here if they're too new, right? But most of the stuff are here, right? And then Zaps are what helps you automate stuff. So connecting things to each other, and we're going to see how we connect AI and how we connect tools, how we build agents in it. I think that we have good time. We have 50 minutes. But just make sure to interact, right? Interact in the chat, ask us questions, tell us your pain points, tell us to build something. We've helped a ton of people like this, and I would love it if you get involved, because it gets so much more fun, because it's much more to you, and there is no stupid question. Don't hesitate. If you have a question, that means that there's a big chance that most of other people has the question. They just are shy and they just don't want to ask, right? So Zapier Zaps is to start connecting things together, right? So Zapier has a bunch of stuff like Zaps, tables, interfaces, canvas, chatbots, agents, which these are two in beta for a long time, by the way. It's been in beta for very long. I don't know why. Hopefully they're going to remove from beta at some point and get better, I guess. But we're going to start with Zaps, okay? And then we'll talk about all of them. And before we start with Zaps, maybe I could tell you about those 8,000 apps, right? So app connections, these are the ones that we've connected, right? So we have connected to our Slack, to our Gmail, to our banking, to our task management, to Google Analytics, to Notion, to ChatGPT, to Google Docs. Like we've integrated like all the tools that we have in the company. They're all connected here, by the way, right? That's the whole idea, okay? And there is 8,000, so we have what, 20, 30 connections. There is many more, right? Cool. So let's just go back to our home, to the Zaps, and then let's click on create here. Okay, so we're creating a thing. This is help me fix it, because I think that your Zap runs individual in bulk. So if you have errors, you'll see it here, right? So right now, this is not a paid plan of Zapier, by the way. So in free, you can do a lot as well, right? We use Make.com, we use Zapier, we use NA10, we use Mind Studio, we use now Google Workspace Flows, which just got rebranded as Workspace Studio. We use, what else do we use? We use a lot of automation tools. We use obviously Claude Code, Notion AI, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gamma. We use a lot of tools, but that's the key. By using a lot of tools, we're a very lean team, and we can scale. But Zapier is a great tool, and I really wanted to do this session for you guys, okay? Because even in my training programs, I'm telling them, even if we're not paying Zapier ourselves at the moment, sometimes I paid for it, sometimes I didn't pay for it. It's one of those tools that comes in and goes in my life, but there is also enough free Zaps to do like some minor things, right? And you'll see what I mean, okay? So this is a Zap. This is a Zap, right? So a Zap is a workflow. A Zap is an automation canvas. A Zap is it's like a process, but with connected tools, with AI, with different things that we're going to see in a second, right? But every automation platform, right? I think every, if I'm not mistaken, starts with a trigger, right? And so let's talk about the trigger. So here we have a trigger. Right, the first thing is a trigger, and then it's an action, and then I can keep adding stuff, right? So I can keep adding actions. But let's talk about the trigger, okay? And then you might ask, oh, okay, because we're starting here. This is quite new. This is still in beta as well. It's basically now the AI can build the automation, right? So this is what I've been saying since last year, maybe, is automating the automation, right? So we are almost there. Like this works wonders, by the way. We'll test it together in a second. Is that you could tell it what you want and it's going to build it for you. Guys, if you're not building automations and AI and agents and stuff, you're missing out. It's end of 2025, December the 5th, Friday. You know, it got so easy. You tell this Copilot what you want, and it builds it. It asks you clarification questions, and then it builds it. It literally builds it. Like you don't even have to build it, right? But we're gonna build. Just see what I mean about that. So let's just get rid of that. Let's go to trigger, right? So every automation needs a trigger. By the way, these are just messing up the screen a little bit, so I'll try to put it there. Don't worry about that. Oh, it gets stuck. It's so annoying. On Studio sometimes. That's a Chrome extension. It's just not Zapier, it's something completely different. So trigger. I click on trigger. Right. What happens is I get those 8,000. It says 7,000 plus apps, but I think that is 8,000 now, something like that. They, in some places it says 8,000. I think they haven't updated the UI in certain places, 7,000. Right. But it's a big number. Right. It's a huge number. So we click on trigger. We need to decide on a trigger, right? So a trigger is I receive an email. A trigger is somebody fills up a form. A trigger is somebody puts a new row in a spreadsheet. A trigger could be anything, right? A trigger could be many, many, many things, right? And it could be a new lead in your CRM. It could be a new message on Slack. It could be a new Google document on the Drive. It could be so many things, so many things. A new task on Asana, right? So let me ask you, what tools do you use, right? That could be a trigger. Start thinking about that, right? Is it a task management? Do you have an Asana? Is it things happen on Slack? Do you have a form on your website? And you could do things with it, right? And maybe your form right now, somebody fills the lead form on your website to contact us, and you get an email, and then you answer in 2-3 days and 4 days, and you're busy and so on. And it's like you missed out on that spam, on that answer, time to response, right? And you don't have to do that anymore, because you could get Zapier. You could say, if people fill up the form, here's some AI, which I'll show you in a second. Here's some AI. Write an email, draft it, respond it. It could even have context. It could have your services. It could have your pricing. It could have everything already, right? Gmail is a great one, right? So Gmail could be a awesome trigger, right? So I click on Gmail. Here we go. Now Gmail is my trigger. What in Gmail, right? Is it a new conversation? Is it a new email, right? So you see here, polling means that it's not going to be instant, right? So let me see if I can find an instant. So in Gmail we don't have instance, but that's fine, because you could do polling, say new email, polling every 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes now, my Zap is going to look every 15 minutes into my Gmail. It's going to look for new emails, right? Every 15 minutes, checks my Gmail, and it says, hey, does Tim have a new email, right? That's going to be the trigger. And if there's a new email, it's going to go on, right? And like I would select my email here, right? Let's just say that I selected my email. All right, cool. So that's done. Okay, so Gmail is the trigger. The trigger event itself, it's a new email. I can only do that by polling every 15 minutes, not manually. This Zapier will do it, right? You'll see that some of the other triggers have instant trigger, or sometimes they call it acid trigger, which is instant, right? So that means that the email comes and it just starts. Here, every 15 minutes, we check for an email due to API, limits, due to some of the integrations and so on, right? So different platforms have different trigger types, right? But that's fine. You'll see that you still can work around with it very easily, right? They're very, very cool. So new email, Gmail, new email. Okay, my email, right? I just say continue, and then you can configure, is it just my full inbox, right? Is it just my full inbox that I want, right? Or are there labels? Maybe there are labels that I want, right? If something is categorized, and maybe in Gmail you have a label, called, website contact us form, or something like that, and you just want it to trigger from there, or maybe you're labeling VIP clients, and then maybe you want to start it from there, right? I'm just gonna go through all inbox for now, just for the sake of it, right? And I'm gonna say continue. It's gonna want to test my trigger, so I'm gonna test my trigger just to make sure it can pull information, right? I don't know what these are emails are, so hopefully nothing too sensitive. So I'm just gonna say to continue. Great, okay. So we didn't have to see the sensitive email because I'm not sure which email it brought as a test and is inside here. So it pulls ABC. It pulls 3 records. Right? Why does it pull these 3 records? So that you can work with it, right? Because you need some data from this first one so that you can start making sense of the next things that we're going to do, right? So that's our trigger. Our trigger is done, right? Every 15 minutes, we get emails. Here's one that we just got, email C. Right? Inside, if you click, there's a lot of information. I'm not sure if it's a sensitive one, so I'm not going to click on it. Okay, so cool. But I'm done, right? I got my green tick. I know this is working. What do I want to do with these emails, right? All emails, maybe, right? So right now I'm doing just full inbox, right? Or we can start kind of filtering, right? So every 15 minutes, I check if there's a new email, okay? And then I'm going to do an action now, right? Because I want to do something with that, right? So I got the email. What do I do with it, okay? So let's start something quite simple. Right? Let's say that we could use AI by Zapier, right? Or we could even use a filter here, right? Only continue if, the name is this, the subject is this, or it comes from, whatever. So you get all these things. Actually, yeah, not bad. The email is not sensitive. I can see it. It's just a booking of a lead. Thank you very much. Amazing lead booking calls with us. Please do book calls with us if at least you have 50 team members, right? And you have some cash to spend, because if not, it's a waste of your time and my time, right? So new email in Gmail, right? So from name, okay. Oh yeah, so we have a QR code there, right? If you need some AI training, it's at least 50 people that we train, because it's also the return on investment, right? I'm not just trying to be here like, oh, it pays a lot of money. No, it's like, it makes sense. It's after 50 people, right? 30, 40 is okay as well, but 50 plus people, if we train them, the return on investment is huge. It's huge. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. What you pay us, then it's compared to return on investment is peanuts. You're like, oh my God, right? So as you can see, I can filter things by Zapier here. I can decide on, hey, I want it, if it's only from, who was the person who said Gmail here? Fitim. Like if Fitim, I want to create something just for Fitim, I can say from name, and I can say, all right, it contains, or it's exactly, right? That's up to you. And I say Fitim, right? So now I'm filtering only the emails that Fitim sends me, right? Okay. So awesome. Fitim, if you send me an email now, you're going to come here and then you're going to be able to go into the next thing, right? And then you can kind of continue. So this is a filtering. This is quite simple, right? And you can add a bunch of rules. You can add other rules. You can add or continue if this happens. So it's Fitim, or who else? Old John here, or Andrea here, right? Whoever I want to decide. Maybe it's my team members, maybe it's VIP sales, things like that. And maybe you want to do it with labels. Maybe we want to do it by filtering. Okay. Simple. I'm just going to delete that because filters are simple. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to bring some AI, because, let's not just stay at integration, right? Our name is AI operator for a reason, right? So I'm going to bring AI by Zapier. Okay. So I brought AI by Zapier. All right. And then I'm building an action right now, which is a AI action. Okay. And then as you can see, I have a prompt builder. If you don't know how to prompt well, I think we have a prompting webinar we did a while ago. We'll do some again. It's somewhere on our LinkedIn events, right? In our LinkedIn events, there's a bunch of events in the past. Most of them are still very relevant, right? So if you do get the time, go watch them. But also maybe we can kind of put my YouTube, right? In my YouTube, I kind of cover everything as well, right? So make sure to go to my YouTube. Here we go. Yeah, YouTube, Tim Cakir. Yeah, just write that. On YouTube, I share everything as well. Okay. All right. Cool. Awesome. And there is also the live sessions. I do forget this all the time. They're on our website. If you go aioperator.com, I think there's resources somewhere there. There's live sessions. They're all actually noted, what they're about, and they're all archived there, so you can watch them there. But you can also, of course, find them on LinkedIn or YouTube or on our website. Better on our website. Go to aropreneur.com. We should bring everybody there. Right? So now I have an AI. Okay. It's a custom prompt. Okay. Or I can find some prompts that potentially it's already on here, like summarize, write, classify, extract, translate, analyze, transcribe, search, right? So Zapier has decided already on these. Okay. And then this is going to be on custom prompt. I'm getting that complaint again. This is your LinkedIn, buddy. So if you're having a bad experience on LinkedIn about the screen quality, please go to YouTube, because in YouTube you can select the quality. On LinkedIn you can't select the quality. So what happens is that LinkedIn, if you don't have very good internet, if you don't have very good bandwidth, it reduces the quality, right? So please, if you're having problems like that, it's not us. Like, we are doing full HD 1080p, right? It's LinkedIn that is reducing the quality for you, by the way, right? So I'll have 9 out of 10 people say, yeah, mine is great, and then one says mine is not that good, right? Because of your internet. Check your Wi-Fi, things like that, or switch to YouTube. You can actually select the quality on the bottom right. Okay, hopefully that helps. Yeah, cool. So I have a prompt builder, right? Let's remind ourselves very quickly. This is an AI by Zapier. By the way, you could have AI, just to show you, you could have different AI stuff, as we showed, that the Zapier has created, a custom prompt that we can do. But also, of course, you can bring things like OpenAI, right? So I think that, yeah, here we go, ChatGPT. So you can bring your ChatGPT models with your own APIs. I believe that we can even bring Claude, hopefully. Anthropic, Claude. Can you bring Gemini? Potentially, you can bring Gemini, right? You can bring Perplexity, maybe. Perplexity, yeah, you can bring Perplexity, right? You can bring a bunch of different AIs, right? Okay. But the AI by Zapier is more than enough for the use case, right? So let me just clean this up very quickly, as you can see, because we already have one. So the AI by Zapier, I'm going to use a GPT-4o mini model. It's provided by Zapier. It says it's free, but you pay your zaps, right? Yeah, and stuff. But as I mentioned, you can also connect your own credentials, right? You can connect your own API keys and stuff like that. So if you want to pay for your APIs tokens separately, you can kind of do that. And you have you get a bunch of models that you can select through, right? This model can be used for free. Awesome, right? So you have a bunch of models. You can select them here, or as you saw earlier, you can bring the actual module, the actual action that is that company, that the large language model that you want to use, right? But here I'm okay with GPT-4o mini. Okay, you can build some input fields, like things that you want to bring in, right? So this could be, these input fields, if I do this, could be from that trigger, from the email, right? It could be, maybe I'm getting people's name, or I'm getting their email address or something, if I want to use that, right? I'm not going to want to use anything here. I can add knowledge sources. This is incredible, because here I could add a knowledge source. I could say it's in my Google Drive, it's a Google Doc, my Notion. I definitely would add my Notion. I would add all our documents about sales, right? So maybe this is our products, our services, the price. I can add all that stuff, because if I add all that stuff, this AI now has the context, right? Has the context of this knowledge. So it means that, if I get an email, an example, if I get an email about our services, how much does your services cost? How many times do we answer this, right? It's so annoying, right? I can here build it where I'm like, okay, here's some documents, right? Or maybe FAQ documents that I have, right? Frequently asked questions about my business. I put that knowledge in here, from Google Drive, upload the file, Google Doc, whatever you want, right? It doesn't have to be Notion. And then I have access to this. The AI has access to this knowledge source, right? Which I didn't have. Then I can put a prompt, right? And then I'm going to go very quick with my prompt. Here you go. I'm going to dictate my prompt. I'm going to say, check each email. And if an email is a simple question like, what are your services? Make sure to respond, to create a draft responding with our services and the pricing. If it's a spam email, don't do anything. If it's a request for a collaboration or partnership, check if it's any good, if it's quality, and then create a draft as well. So I did something quite simple, just said a few things. It's not a really good prompt whatsoever, but that's fine because we have a button here called improve prompt. So I'm going to click on improve prompt. As you can see, it told me that it was weak. That's great because I said improve prompt. It gave that, and now it's still going to be weak because it's on kind of thing, but I think you could improve it much more. Oh, it's okay now, right? So you can kind of write more and more and more about this prompt, right? So you can kind of work this prompt, right? So this is where you work this prompt. Another quick hack, of course, is take this, go to your ChatGPT, work your prompt, bring the prompt back here, then drop your prompt, right? So this is cool. What's going to happen is every 15 minutes, it's going to poll. The trigger is going to check my Gmail. If there's any new emails, it's going to bring it to this box. It's going to use GPT-4o Mini with this prompt to review each email for different types of inquiries, right? So what you'll see now is, let's click generate preview. So it has one email right now, as you remember, it's an AccuFlow booking. What it's going to do is going to now review that email. That prompt is going to review that email. It's going to output according to that if it's a response, as you can see, right? Okay. But you can see that everything is fully wrong because it doesn't have context. It doesn't have knowledge about our pricing or anything like that, right? So this is way below what we charge, by the way, right? Way below what we charge, right? But that's fine because this is a great starting point. I'm like, okay, it kind of knows already. So we don't do really marketing solutions. We don't do web development. We don't do any of this stuff, right? So how can you improve this? A couple of things very quickly. Add a knowledge source. I add my Notion, right? I have my Notion connection, hopefully, right? Where is my Notion connection? Is here. Here we go. This is my Notion connection. I can find our page that has our pricing, right? So it has all our services, right? I can add that, and then it's going to know the knowledge. Or what's the other way to do it? I can say here, I can say, our 12-week AI First Mindset training program is $45,000 for up to 50 people. Our consulting starts at $10,000 a month for AI leadership advisory. We do have also custom packages on building automation, workflows, and agents. And usually, typically, for just on demand, we charge $1,250 an hour. By the way, bam, suddenly our pricing is transparent, which I've never made it transparent, but it's always been the same pricing for the last few months, right? The second half of the year has been this. Next year is going to increase like it does every 6 months. We increase our prices because, we can't serve the whole world. We serve about 10 clients a quarter, right? And we're almost fully booked for Q1 2026, by the way. Right. So if you want to get into the training program, I think we have about 2 spaces left, and we have a couple people on the pipeline that is going to decide hopefully today or Monday, because if not, they might lose some space. Right. We're getting a lot of requests on training. Usually this is the perfect timing that everybody reaches out to us. They're like, oh, budgets, we didn't do anything about AI. Everybody has to do something with AI, about AI. And if you don't, you're in trouble. Shh, I didn't say that, right? But I did say that. I know I don't want to fear anybody because it's about love, not fear. But I love you so much, guys, that I'm telling you, be careful. You got to do something about AI in your company. You're going to train everybody for sure, right? So I've added that. I'm going to click another improve prompt, right? So as you can see, I put now the knowledge inside the prompt itself because I have space, right? Or if you had so much more, you wanted to put your sales deck and stuff like that, you can, of course, add it to the knowledge sources, all right? So I'm going to click generate preview. Yeah, and all this is all recorded on YouTube, LinkedIn, and stuff like that. So after January 1st, that pricing won't be the same. Just FYI, right? So as you can see now, I got the answer. Yeah, thank you for your inquiry about our service. Here's a brief overview of what we offer. Boom. So now it's custom, right? So now if I click on finish, right? Let's just finish this. So now every time. Not every time, every 15 minutes, apologies. Every 15 minutes, I'm checking, Zapier is checking my Gmail, seeing if there's a new email. It says, oh, great, there is 2 new emails in this last 15 minutes. It then brings it to AI by Zapier, which is this box, right? This module, this nodes, they're called different things, right? This is an action here. It brings it to this. It runs that prompt on those emails. It checks those emails. If it's a sales inquiry, it creates an answer with our actual pricing. Right? That's awesome. Right? So it creates it, and then what I could do is I can come back to my Gmail, right? An example, right? And I can send email, or I could say draft. Maybe you want to check as a human. So, in the beginning, what I suggest usually is to create drafts at first, okay, for like maybe a couple weeks, monitor it, check if the drafts are really good, and when you're sending, check the changes and check the edits you're doing. Note those down. Come back to your prompt, include those optimizations in your prompt, check another week, and you're like, wow, okay, it's 99% very good now, right? It's each time it answers really, really well. So now maybe I don't have to create draft reply, but maybe now I can change this action into send reply, send message, right? Send email. So then I don't even have to see those emails. They're all tackled, right? Right now, first, and this is my recommendation, is always to build with some human in the loop, right? And then that 1%, you're gonna be like, yeah, but Tim, how about that 1%? Well, that 1%, what you could also do in your prompt, or you could put a second prompt that checks the quality according to maybe a knowledge file where you have rules, how to answer emails, what to say, what not to say, or things like that. And then you can say, hey, if you're not 100% sure, don't do anything and ask. And then this way, it won't answer if it's not 100% sure, right? I mean, the 100% is still very tricky, but you see what I mean. You can put some kind of guardrails, right? You can put a lot of guardrails. Another thing that you could do, which I really love, is instead of this, I could send it to a Slack message. Right? We use Slack, which is an internal communication platform. I can send a message to Tim, to myself, or so this is a channel message, sorry, or to a sales channel. Okay, let's say that I have a sales channel. Right, here we go. I send it now. Each time I send it to a sales channel, right? And you put this, is it the bot, the name of the bot? You can call it sales assistant. These are simple things you can just go through. I don't have to explain you these things. You select the channel, right? Sales channel, right? And what I do is now each time, every 15 minutes, it checks there's any new email. If it's a thing, if it's a service inquiry, it writes the answer, it sends it to me on the channel on Slack and says, hey, Tim, is this good? And I could say yes, no, right? I could have even that where I trigger it from my Slack. If I say no, it doesn't send it. If I say yes, it sends it, right? So I can do this type of things, right? But let's not overcomplicate. I know it could be quite complicated, but you know what? It's not actually complicated. It's just what I figured this out is like, can you think, like, whatever you can imagine, you can build these days, right? So I think the limit is our imagination. So it's not the tools, it's not the complexity of anything, because it's all getting simpler. It's us as humans, like, oh, what am I going to build, right? So that's the question everybody has, like, oh, great, I have all these skills, but what do I build? And for this, what I recommend is, check your calendar every week. At the end of the week, check the tasks that you've been doing. Make sure that you put all the tasks in your calendar, and then see the things that you don't want to do, right? Or things that takes your time and sucks your energy. Reporting, answering emails, copy pasting data, things like this is like the first thing you should automate, right? Like, because you don't like it, but you're not going to want to automate speaking to a client on a call or things like that, right? Which you can also with avatars now, but that's the things you want to keep, right? So make sure that you kind of think about these things, or note them down throughout your work week. Note down and say, oh, I spend too much time on this shit. I don't like this shit, right? If you have, I don't like this shit, right? Then the week after, be like, okay, I'm automating this shit, right? And just automate that, right? So that's how I look at it. And we have a very good exercise. It's called It Sucks That, right? So we run sessions, every team member, 50, 60 people come in, and we take, 15 minutes on making a list of it sucks that, right? And every team member makes a list of, it sucks that I need to create, reports every Friday. It sucks that I need to, try to find information about how to take holidays. It sucks that I need to blah, blah, blah. It sucks that, and then it gets a massive list of it sucks that. Then you prioritize those with effort and ease. There is like, there's a bunch of prioritization frameworks like ICE, impact, confidence, and ease. How impactful this is, how how confident are you about the impact, and how easy is it to implement? And according to ICE, right, the framework, the prioritization framework, you then find out, from 100 things written, you find out 10 top things that you need to work on. You work on those, or you call in, who do you call? AI operator, right? So if not, you call us and you say, hey, like we have 10. It sucks that. How do we do that? But if you go through our training program, most of your team members can build these things already themselves, which is incredible, right? And we really want to, I don't want to give you the fish. I really don't want to sell you fish. I want to teach you how to fish, because then you can fish forever, right? If I give you the fish, then tomorrow you're going to be like, oh, I need more fish, right? And then it keeps being like, I need more fish. I know, and then I'm a fisherman, right? And then I just give you fish. But if I teach you how to fish, you don't need me, which doesn't sound right for any business owners. Like, oh, but if you teach them everything, they don't need you. Oh boy, they do. It's, I teach them everything because they can do some great stuff, and they'll bring us even more complex challenges. And I really want you to have those powers anyways. It's sharing is caring, love, not fear, all those beautiful things that we work with now. This is the reality of AI operator. We want you to be really good at stuff, right? We don't want to keep anything internal. If you check out my LinkedIn, I share everything that I do, even the craziest sales systems that I build. You have videos about them and stuff like that. Like we share everything, right? I think my team's here on the call, on the chat and stuff like that. We don't keep anything secret, right? We don't want to, right? You even saw our pricing now, right? So great, I've done that. I've created the draft reply. We just got to make sure that what's the thread. The thread is going to be the previous thread, right? So we have to make sure that a Copilot is suggesting things, which is great, and I'm guessing it's suggesting the previous things. Select value for thread. I'm guessing that that's what it does, but we want this to be dynamic, right? So we got to be, this is static, select value for thread. So we don't want static, right? Can you custom, right? And then you can, here we go, new email in Gmail. And then, we're going to find potentially, is it the message ID? Yes. So, the threads, the message ID is this, right? The to and stuff, I'm not going to fill it up, because as you can see, the only required is this. If I have this is a no-brainer. And then the body is required, right? So, but how do I bring that message? Now I do / again, and I get this analyze and return this data, and I'm going to get the output, right? So what happened is every 15 minutes, we check the emails. If the email, we know the email ID, we go to AI by Zapier, we create a draft response, we put it on Gmail as a draft reply, we continue, we test the step, okay? And then we publish this, and then we have, I'm not going to publish it because it's going to start doing this every 15 minutes, but it works. Done, right? So now what happens, as you can see, the data that comes in from here, right? Then it's mapped out, and it's going to be out by ID, thread ID. So all that is going to go inside that, and then the draft is going to be respond. This is the Zapier ID, this is the thread ID, label IDs, and the draft, right? So what happened now is, it's very simple, maybe name it, sales inquiry drafting, right? Sales inquiry drafting, right? So now sales inquiry drafting, if I publish it, it's live, right? So now any sales inquiries that comes to my Gmail every 15 minutes is going to be checked. It's going to write a draft, and it's going to respond. It's going to, create the draft, and it's going to leave it in my Gmail, right? And then what I can do is every morning come to my Gmail and see that I have 12 drafts, go very quickly through them, right? And if you're happy with all 12, you get a winner. If you're happy with only 2 and not the rest of the 10, why? Potentially your prompt is not good. Potentially you haven't put enough context. So maybe you want to put some knowledge files, some resources, right? So if you do decide on these things, and then you put these inside your prompt, inside your files that you're feeding here, right? Remember we have a bunch of files that we can build in here, right? Funny enough, this didn't open okay, it opens here now. All right, so the prompt is here, right? We have knowledge source. Here we go. Thank you. This is what I wanted to open, the prompt builder, right? Here I can add all my files. Remember, this is very important. Work your prompt. Make sure your prompt is great and not just okay like mine. Put all the details and so on. And then make sure that from those 12 emails, all 12 are good. If all 12 drafts are very good, change this from draft reply to reply, send email. So you don't have to even look at drafts anymore. Right? That's how we automate things. People think automation and stuff like that, they're like, oh, it's, no, it's not. It's just like, what's the simplest thing? The simplest thing is, oh my God, I got too many emails on this. I get so many people. We're training a private equity firm. I love them. They're such sweet people. And they're like, all of them, they're like, oh, too many emails. And then I look at the emails, about 70% of the emails is like declining offers, declining things, and not being relevant, right? So, and it takes them hours every day, and that 70%, we could analyze those 70%, and you could respond to everybody automatically saying, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your offer, but right now we're not taking any investments on that field because we're experts in this field, right? Awesome. You've responded to everybody, and you have only 25% now left for you to manually trigger it, tackle and reply if you want, right? So we all expect that, we're going to do incredible things with AI, right? Which is great. Yes, AGI, artificial general intelligence, super intelligence, hyper productivity. These are topics that I'm very into, of course. But everybody thinks here, which they're not even, they haven't even done anything here yet. They're reporting manually. They're creating spreadsheets and copying and pasting data manually. They respond to every shit email manually. There's so much manual thing. They research things manually. They do competitor analysis manually. They do so many things manually that it's like, don't do those manually. Those are energy vampires, right? They suck your energy out, and then you're like, oh yeah, I've done so much today at work. Actually, you haven't done much at all. You haven't brought any value. Seriously, right? In 5-day work, what is it? Is it a day that you actually do very valuable, grow, like very revenue focused, ROI focused? Is it really a whole day in the week? I would question that, right? About 80% of the stuff that we do is just things that we got to do so that we can do the 20%, right? So the 20% is actually what brings the 80%, but we spend 80% of that time, working on crap that is not going to bring anything, right? And we only spend 20% on the things that are going to bring some great stuff, right? So shift that mindset, right? Shift that mindset, okay? Awesome. All right. So let's continue. Yes, I got a nudge there saying, Tim, you talk too much. I know I talk too much. But hopefully this inspires you. One of my biggest job here is to always inspire you. What a simple thing I just built. I didn't even think about it. Boom, sales inquiries. Actually, I might come back later today or on the weekends. I build a little stuff. I might come in and I might tweak these and so on and make this live because it's December. We're getting a lot of sales inquiries, right? And then if I see some good ones, I can send them automatically in my calendar link or something like that, right? So that's built for you, right? So let's talk about a couple more features while we're here, because I think that, everybody doesn't want to just listen to me. They just want to learn things, right? This is why we're here. So first of all, how about if we build that, right? And let's see if it's going to select to build an agent or a Zap, right? Check my Gmail for sales inquiries, and then drafts a response and creates a draft reply on my Gmail if it's a question about sales. Right, so the same thing that we just did, but I put it as a prompt here, right? I put it as a quick prompt, and as you can see, the Copilot that I was telling you, and this is where the no-brainer, it's like now the AI can build you the automation. So I said that, and I said, okay, I'll help you set up an automation to monitor Gmail for sales inquiries and automatically create draft responses. Let me first check what Gmail capabilities are available in Zapier, right? So the AI is checking. As you can see, it's kind of doing what we did: new email trigger, create the draft, create draft reply, bam, 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 right? Okay. So if I say continue with Zap editor, that's good. It decided to build it on a Zap, on a Zapier, right? Look, now the chat is on the left, and now you'll see that it's going to build it on the right. It's like, what I did for 30 minutes and I was talking things through is going to do it in minutes, in less than 5 minutes, maybe even a few minutes. It's going to do it automatically. Right? And it's building it. Look at that. Look at that. I'm not touching it, guys. There's no secret person in the background, literally, right? It's building it all itself. This is mind-blowing. You don't even need AI operator, right? Build these things. I don't want to build silly stuff for you. I want to build some bigger stuff, right? Build these things. You'll definitely need us, right? You need us to train everybody so that they can think about this. This is why it's called the mindset training program, because we want people to start thinking like this, right? All right, cool. It's building it. It's building a new email. You see every 15 minutes. You use the filter. Great. It's going to filter it by sales inquiries, right? I'm guessing it's going to then use the OpenAI ChatGPT module, right? It's going to use something there. It's funny though. Look, it does subject. It's looking at if there is sales inquiry, pricing, quote, proposal, product, interested, things like that, right? That could be a bit limiting. We have the AI. If somebody doesn't use those words, it might not go through it. But we have AI to analyze the email as well. So you can analyze the email like we did on the prompts, right? Or you could put two. You could one email, one prompt could be to analyze the emails and label the emails, and then the next one is to answer those, right? Here we go. It's building the rest. I'm still not touching, by the way. My feet are here as well. If you can see them, I'm not doing anything. Right, here we go. We've kind of got quite far now, right? Awesome. Now let me test the ChatGPT step. Okay, well, yeah, sure. Let's just skip the test so that we want to move forward, right? And so that it goes to the next step. All right, you can see it's building it. What? Right? I think this is crazy stuff. This is absolutely crazy stuff. Yes, we are all going to be out of job one day, but that's not today. That's not the next 10 years. Don't worry. We still got time, humans, and during that time, let's make friends with the AI. Let's use the AI together, to achieve great things together, right? I think that's where I would focus right now. So great. I mean, this kind of built that all for ourselves. We can kind of trigger it, check it, test it, make sure it works, and then you can publish it. That's ready for you. So that's a very cool thing. It's still in beta, the Copilot, right? But I'm going to show you a couple more things while we're here, right? Let me see if I have a good use case. Nobody can put me any use cases. That's sad. I love use cases, but can I think about another use case? Yes. Let me use another use case very quickly. I had something here. Practical use cases. Okay, yeah. So, all right, let's do something. So, what I want to build now is I'm actually not going to build a Zap. Okay, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to build an agent. All right. And where did my agents go? What happened here? Can anybody see where my Zap canvas? Where's my agents? Let's see if I can get back to the clean Zapier. Let's see. Sometimes you get some. Okay, so now I decided. Before, you see, we had a bunch of stuff on the left, which was great. Now Zap's table interface. We don't have agents. Where are agents? I love that they change things and then you just get confused. Explore apps. Let's go to apps. Oh, this is the apps. This is all the integrations that we were saying about, the 8,000 plus. Oh, it's almost hitting 9,000, by the way. Look at that. 8,971. Wow. This is a lot. This is a lot of apps, right? A lot of apps. All right. Well, it doesn't want to give me agent anymore, which sucks. All right. I don't understand what's happened here. Where's my agents? There was agents. Assets? No. Assets is my assets. You see, here we go. It changes things. They're testing some UIs, I think. Agents. Here we go. All right. Wow, that's weird. All right, cool. So here we go. We came to agents. If it loads, here we go. My agents. All right. So I have a few agents. One is running right now. I'm going to kind of build the similar agent that I really like. Right. I'm going to click on new agent. And then you're going to ask me, like, I hope you're going to ask me, but you're not asking. So I'm going to ask it myself to help you. You're going to say, what's the difference about a Zap or a workflow versus an agent, right? A workflow, a Zap, is very, very deterministic in the steps, right? That it takes, even if we do some AI in between, is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, finished, right? And it will go through step 2 once, right? You can loop things, but it's going to go once. It's not going to decide itself, right? It's not going to make any decision making. It's just going to say, all right, Tim told me step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, I'm done. An agent is basically a large language model that has access to tools but can also loop through tools, right? So it can basically decide to use a tool multiple times until it achieves the job, right? So here it can decide to use a browse, a search a few times, or it could write a response a few times until it's happy, right? Like things like that, right? So I'm going to write the same thing a bit different now. Watch. Anytime I have a sales call booked in my Google Calendar, and you can understand sales call because there'll be like intro, lead, demo, discovery, things like that, and never training calls or never internal calls with a lot of AI operator team members. Right? So that's how you can understand which ones are sales calls. And according to my sales calls of the day, in the morning, do a lead research every contact on that call and the company, and then summarize a very nice sales call preparation for me so that I can read before joining the call and I know who I'm talking to. And so it kind of creates an agenda, a bunch of beautiful questions, and it helps me be a sales assistant, right? So it's my sales assistant basically, right? And then deliver that to me every morning on my Slack, right? So I could have said anything else, right? But I said this, and I'm just going to say start building. And as you can see, it's again the co-pilot. So the co-pilot agent is going to help me build this agent, right? Which is awesome. On the left, you can see I have some reasoning. It's generating some instructions now. It's working on it, right? And we're going to build an agent now, right? And this agent is really cool. I actually have this exact agent, and every morning on Slack, I get is it at 10 a.m. or something? Because I don't have calls before that. At 10 a.m. or something, I get a message, and I get whoever is going to be on my sales call that day, right? I get the name, the company, who's the company, what they do, who are the people in the call. I get a bit of their LinkedIn profile. This is what they do. This is their role. This might be their pain points. They've been in some news. They're famous. They have a podcast, like things like that. And I have this every morning on my Slack. So I don't do any kind of lead research before the call, right? I don't do much call prep actually, because my whole call prep is done for me, right? So in the morning, I open up my Zapier, my Slack, and I have the Zapier bots there. And I read through all the prep, and I'm like, oh, okay, great. I know that I'm talking to the 3 companies, and these are the people in the companies, and so on. And most of the time, just 5 minutes before the call, I pull in my Slack. I'm like, oh yeah, these were the guys. And then I come into the call like I know everybody, right? And everybody's like, oh, Tim's sweet, right? Why? Because I have this preparation done for me, right? So as you can see, every morning at the 8 a.m., check today's Google Calendar, and you can see on agents, you can put those apps, those 8,900 something app, you can put them as tools, right, inside the prompt. So Google Calendar find events. So it's going to look at my events, right? It's going to do all of the stuff, right? Create comprehensive sales, do the research, blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to send the complete sales call preparation to Tim via Slack. Slack, send direct message. This is done. Great. I publish it. I put it active. I'm done. I go. Thank you. Bye. Right. It's almost like that. Like it's starting to be very, very ridiculous how easy these things are. Right. And then you might be like, oh yeah, but there is so many nuances in our business and blah, blah, blah. Right. You're going to tell me all this stuff, which I respect it. I'm just kidding. Right. And if you have that, come in, add those nuances, add those rules, add those guardrails, add examples of sales call preparations, add all that stuff through the knowledge sources, and tell to your agent saying, hey, I have in the knowledge source, I give you a bunch of great examples for sales call preparations. I give you some guardrails. I give you some rules. I give you our tone of voice. I give everything, right? The problem is that we are not giving enough context to these machines, to these agents, to these large language models, right? This is why prompt engineering is not dead, but context engineering is a new thing, because the large language models are getting so good, especially if they have your context. If they have your context, the context about your business, the context about the process, about the system, if they have the context about all of that, they'll do magic for you, and you'll be very, very, very impressed. I can guarantee you that. right? It was that simple, ladies and gentlemen. Is that simple, literally, right? That's the one that I have that is active, as you can see. It looks at my Google Calendar, it finds multiple events, it does a Google search, it sends me a Slack, right? Every morning, it does that for me every day, right? Boom. Very simple. Look at that. A couple of lines, some things. It has the context of the DAOs. It does a search. It sends it to my thing. For me, that's more than enough. And for a lot of people, they're like, "Oh yeah, man, this is not very useful." And then I see them, you know, an hour before the sales call. They're like, "Oh, who was this? Let me check on LinkedIn." They check manually. Who are they? Let me note it down. Let me do this. Or they come to a call. They have no clue who's who. They come. They're like, "Oh, hi. What was that? What do you do? What was the business?" Right? Like you're missing so much. I come in, I'm like, "Hey, John, how are you? Well, I saw you were on a podcast yesterday. That was awesome." And they're like, "Oh, did you read it? Did you watch it?" "No, I just saw it. I will watch it later this weekend." Right? It's fine. You're not lying. You know about it. And maybe you didn't watch it or read it or whatever, but you know that they're aware. Right? So there's so much you can do. And that creates such a better connection with people. You'll be very impressed with yourself. Right? Awesome. Awesome. So I wanted to, do that. Um, so you know how to build a Zap, a workflow with selected triggers and actions, right? And a trigger and an action that is defined, that it runs each time. You also very quickly saw that you can build it with Copilot very easily, right? The Zapier Copilot. But you also saw that you can build little mini agents that can tackle a bunch of stuff with knowledge, and but also can access those tools, those apps, and inside tools like finding events, sending Slack messages, drafting replies, right? And it can do all of this stuff, right? And it's peanuts. What is it, $25 or free? I told you mine's free at the moment because you can have 400 actions or something like that a month or something, and that's more than enough for me, right? At the moment on this we have Make, we have NA10, we have Mind Studio, which we do a lot, but Zapier is doing a lot of those integrations, mini integrations that I need, right? One of the famous one that I do is anytime there's a bank transaction in our company bank account, then I put it on Notion as a row as well, just so that I have access to that and it's not just on the bank. And then I can even trigger it where I label stuff and all that, so that my accountant is like, "Oh wow, you've done a great job. Thank you very much, accountant. It's not me, it's my Zapier." Right? So these are the type of things that you can all do, and it's no brainers. So I hope you enjoyed this session. I need some water, and I need to. But in 30 minutes, I have a bunch of incredible entrepreneurs that I'm training. So I have 30-minute break, and then I have another hour of great workshop for about 10 incredible entrepreneurs from Germany. So I'm going to go to that, ladies and gentlemen. If we don't go live till New Year's, Christmas, New Year's, happy, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If you celebrate whatever you celebrate, all of that, right? We might last minute do some events like I did last year. I did 5 days to Christmas or something like that. It was every day on Christmas week. You never know. This Christmas, I hope that I'm going to be with family in France. So if you're around Bordeaux, La Rochelle, all of that, let me know. Ping me. Be happy. I'll invite you for a coffee. If you can gather 10 cool entrepreneurs, founders, and so on, I'll invite you for dinner, all of you. Right. So thank you very much. Please do start building these things yourselves. If you struggle, ping us, right? And if you want your team members to know all this stuff and be excited and know how to build these, and maybe not build all of them, but know what can be done, ping us, right? And thank you. Have also an awesome weekend. Whew. Thank you, everybody.